Okay. So
Yeah.
when we say
Okay.
what is analysis, you cannot
Yeah.
come up with your own definition of analysis
Okay.
and then say and insist that it is analysis. If you do not understand what is analysis, please ask us, and then we can, go through the very basic step. If you make up your own definition of analysis during your proposal presentation, the panelist is still going to come back and say that it's not analysis. So at the end of the day, it is still not analysis if you did not achieve analysis. Okay, you cannot come up with your own definition and then say that it's analysis and insist that it's analysis. Just like, like the publication, when we say any paid publication is not considered, you cannot insist that some paid publication is considered. This is the system in the university, because the university subscribes to an international system. If maybe in the Malaysian system, they accept like paid publication, all those kind of stuff, it's fine if you want to follow the local system, but fact is you're enrolled in so has to follow the international system. And so we have to follow that if you want to work in this system. Maybe in the future, you want to change the Malaysian system, it's fine. But as of now, unfortunately, we're at so we have to adopt, we have to ada sedikit taraf lah. And so like then they will also select people who want to follow this system. And so we cannot run away from it. Bukan I don't want to sort of like help you. I just want to make you understand so that at least I know that maybe in UiTM, they have a different sort of like way of working.
Yeah.
But
I faham. Sebab UM pun dia ranking top ranking Malaysia.
That's the thing.
I faham.
So we cannot run away from it.
Yes. That's why masa the last meeting Simon dengan Lukman. So I cuba adapt. Then at the same time I tak tanya dulu. My style is I cuba explore with my own lah. Tapi kalau tak berjaya juga, and then barulah I start bulat-bulat dekat Simon. And I hope you can teach me from the very beginning lah, from A to Z lah.
So what I got the sense is okay. So I have to look through your. Let's not talk about the document, your analisa, because the analisa is really what we call a rumusan. It's really a rumusan. It's not an analisa. Okay. When we look at the document, the transcript that you send, finally, let's see. I just share the screen kat sini. So I think what you need to do is to ask further questions. This is like first level question. You pun dah tulis kat sini, ini temu buah pertama. Ada temu buah kedua tak? Atau temu buah?
Actually, this is the first time I interview dekat rumah dia. Okay. The first time actually dekat pameran KL lah.
Tapi kedua tu, what did you ask? So like it's hard for me to like figure out all these things like without you showing like the full extent of your interview. So for example, when you ask question like contoh amalan atau pantang larang, then when you ask all these things, did you ask like kenapa, like why, like did you ask why it's like 3, 5, 7, 6, 7, 9 and all that kind of like stuff, because the information that he provides is very surface style. You move on to the next question already without exploring further like each of the topic. And I wonder if there's a chance to really sort of like asking why in each of the question you ask, kenapa? So kenapa disimpan dalam koleksi senjata bilik khas? Apa ciri bilik khas ini? Semua ini you kena tanya dengan terperinci, because with the information, then you can start doing analytical work. Because it's beyond saying that semua ini adalah kepentingannya adalah untuk menjaga untuk mempeliharakan kebudayaan. Because right now your analisa is ultimately mempelihara kebudayaan.
Okay. Tapi I masa I give you dia punya framework tu, rangka tu, memang I ada mencadangkan 3 perkara which is menjawab I punya research objective.
But that's your
the idea is
not your analisa. So you need to analyze like what does it mean if like there's a difference between cadangan and then there's a difference between sort of like rumusan apa yang mereka cakap. Then like your analisa cannot be just like semua ritual itu adalah untuk memeliharakan budaya Bajau. Because I don't need your analisa to already know that is the hakikatnya. This is not like something that I don't already know. You need to show me something that I don't know, alright? Something that as a reader, I don't know about this. What you just said is like, yeah, so I pun tahu. You don't need to sort of like go through all the description to just sampai the kesimpulan that okay, it's about pemeliharaan budaya. That one saya pun dah tahu. Semua orang pun dah tahu. But what is the analisa? What is the main sort of like thing that we can learn from actually looking at this ritual closely? And that's why we give so many suggestions during the last round. And I pun dah tulis, right? One of the possible analisa.
Yeah.
But it's like something that is out of the ordinary. Is it about something that teaches us about what the role that the moyang play in the pemeliharaan? You have to be very specific, like if you want to sort of like focus on pemeliharaan, how, like why, what is the way in which they peliharakan, and it needs to be something that all of us are not. It's not something that all of us already know. It's not general knowledge. You cannot stop at general knowledge, because if you stop at general knowledge, then people are going to keep asking why. So what is the significance of the research? You spend 3 years working on it, and at the end of the day, that's all you're going to say. I mean, I don't need to spend 3 years. I already know that. Right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
saya kena pergi deeper lagi lah, tak nak sekadar
you need to go deeper lah. Your material is there. It's just that you just need to explain.
Yalah, itu sebab saya rasa masa when I give some suggestion, contoh point pertama tu tentang spiritual tense antara yang tua dengan yang muda. Saya fikir saya tidak hanya stop di situ. Maksudnya I akan ada perbincangan dan perbandingan, and then I cuba criticize lah, kritikan itu. And then
what is criticism?
Kritik tu maksudnya kenapa dia boleh dan kenapa dia tak boleh, apa isu-isu yang timbul daripada situ. Boleh kan?
So at the end of it, what are you trying to say? What is the argument that you're trying to make?
Kesimpulan ke?
Yeah.
Yang I nampak maksudnya berdasarkan interview semua tu, macam mana bila benda tu dah jadi nilai komersial, so some part yang tradisional macam ukhuwah itu dah tak ada. Dia dah jadi individualistik, dah jadi macam individualistik lah. Sekarang ni kan secara tradisional kan.
So that one is already the most common, like, do you think I wouldn't know about that? As a reader, commercialization brings about individualism. That is the most common basic knowledge about commercialization, and like that one is like baseline knowledge da. So there is if you know that that's the baseline knowledge, how do we complicate that? How do we problematize that? Maybe commercialization is the means in which something that is traditional is dipeliharakan. You need to challenge the assumption that people have, not confirm the assumption that people have. Okay. What you're doing is confirming the assumption that everyone has. So you're just trying to say things that everyone already know. But what when you say a problem statement is, you have to start from something that everyone thinks is the assumption that semua orang dah tahu the basic common knowledge, but challenge it.
Okay, so masa sekarang ni yang I tak tahu adalah macam mana nak challenge lah benda tu.
Yes, exactly. Because you are just confirming, so apa yang semua orang tahu, that's the problem. You're not actually problematizing, and that's the problem statement. Because each PhD thesis kena ada buat kontribusi pengetahuan yang baru kan. Untuk membuat kontribusi pengetahuan yang baru, kamu harus mencabar asumsi, apa yang biasanya orang tahu tentang topik itu. Kalau kebiasaannya orang, approach a topic that way, mungkin naluri kamu sudah, tunjukkan, hal panduan that something is not so correct in that way that people think about the topic. The assumption is, contoh lah, like okay, you say commercialization, menghakiskan, budaya, jati diri. That's one, everyone thinks like that, kan? Semua orang fikir begitu. But maybe the case study show you, hey, mungkin pengkomersialan itu is offering an opportunity for the bajau to mempeliharakan dan mengukuhkan, malah mengukuhkan, jati diri mereka dan mempeliharakan budaya mereka sebab dia memberikan, insentif kewangan yang menjadikan mereka, berdikari, boleh ada financial independence, dan itu boleh, create a space for them to mempeliharakan budaya mereka dan adat mereka disebabkan mereka ada kewangan, independence. Then you are sort of like challenging a problem, a common assumption. You see what I'm saying, the difference. So rather than confirming what everyone knows, you need to problematize it and then find an analytical way to sort of like discuss how, this case study is really sort of like changing our perception of what we understand to be, the commercialization of craft as something that just destroys, that is anti-budaya.
So maksud saya tu apa-apa saya akan sentiasa argue lah.
Tentulah, ini thesis kan.
So from that kind of argument baru dapat wujudnya new knowledge.
Yes, baru dapat analisa. That's what makes your work special. That your work is different. You're not there to confirm what everyone already knows. Kalau you just confirm what everyone knows, itu tak payah tulis thesis kan. Right? Itu kan semua orang dah tahu. Yang you nak buat itu adalah untuk memberi pengetahuan atau jalan yang baru untuk memahami apa yang kita fahami tentang pengkomersialan craft atau pemeliharaan budaya secara melalui cara komersial. Maybe all these things, but this one you have to frame it through a problem first. Right? You have to identify the problem, and if the problem is contoh, the problem is kebanyakan orang membuat assumption that traditional craft atau kejati diri budaya telah terhakis oleh sebab pengkomersialan craft. Itu mungkin that is the problem. You have to identify the problem first, and from identifying the problem, then you make the argument. Tapi thesis saya, akan, menangani, asumsi ini melalui, my research on bajau weaponry, which shows, then you make your argument. But you have to clearly frame your problem before you make your argument. You cannot make your argument first, and then you go back to your problem. You have to state out what is the problem that you want to. Challenge, and then only you can have the analysis and the argument.
Sorry. Sekali lagi maksudnya.
You have to frame your problem first. You have to introduce your problem.
Frame the problem first, and then.
Before you make your argument. Okay, so the material is there. It's just that this is. Hopefully you can understand a bit better lah. That's a contoh. I'm not saying that that's the only way you can do it. But I feel like maybe that is it feels like that is something that you want to argue as well. It's just that you don't know how to letakkan dalam strukturnya lagi. So
yes,
that's my suggestion.
yeah.
Okay. So you can think about it and then figure out if this is the best way for you to argue your case. I don't know. I hope that it's a bit clearer.
Okay. So tadi kita ulang sedikit boleh, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So maksudnya bila Simon kata identifying the problem, after I identifying the problem, I just go to the first point lah. Sorry, I'm going slide.
Yeah, tak apa. So after your problem, normally biasanya.
So once I dah introduce problem tersebut, okay.
Wait, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Bagi saya 2 minutes. I give you the kerangka, ya. Okay. Okay, so biasanya this is your first chapter, right? So first chapter should be around like this lah. Now, depending on how long is a literature review, biasanya literature review, sometimes people put in the second chapter too. Okay, look at the chat box, yeah? In the chat box. So number 9, literature review, sometimes people buat second chapter. Okay, but otherwise, they include it in the first chapter. And this is your proposal. Okay, in your proposal, normally you have an introduction, you introduce a topic, and then you elaborate on the background. Lepas itu, you introduce the problem statement. So this is where you problematize the assumptions that people have about the topic. Okay, and then you discuss why this is a problem. Maybe it is a problem because we make certain sort of like assumption, and then like based on like your reading of what other people have written about. But you need to make sure that you cite who is the one that normally make that certain kind of assumption. Like say if the assumption is like biasanya orang kata kebudayaan terhakis diakibatkan. You kena buat citation lah semua itu. Yeah, you cannot just you kena buat citation, but then you introduce the problem and say this is problematic because based on my experience, my penubual with so and so and so, it seems like something else is going on, and then as a result, you are trying to argue. Then you state your argument, and that is your thesis. That if your problem is commercialization cause the erosion of cultural integrity amongst the Bajau, then your argument is this is not the case. Actually, commercialization strengthens. Yeah, and then you state in your aims and objective that my research aims to sort of prove commercialization instead of eroding the the culture of the Bajau. In fact, actually strengthens and creates a space for them to practice their adat, and adat is then reframed through commercialization. And then you have to analyze. You don't just sort of like state the most obvious point, but maybe adat is not something that is just passed down from the past, right? It's something that's adapted. Commercialization itself adapts and changes adat so that it becomes stronger and becomes a way to help them to sort of navigate themselves within a contemporary world. So then you have your aims and objective, and from there, then you can formulate your research question, and then from the research question, you can figure out your approach, how you want to do it in your method. Okay?
So dekat situ maksudnya sentiasa ada citation dan sentiasa ada.
And then sentiasa always go back to your problem statement.
That's always to go back.
Everything you do, you go back to your problem statement.
This one is actually for my analysis lah kan?
Analysis, anything you do, next chapter, every single chapter, every single point you make, you have to go back to your problem statement and answer the problem statement.
Ya ke? Selama ni saya ingat apa-apa biasa refer pada research objective.
Yeah, but research objective comes from problem statement. So remember, yeah, everything you have to answer your problem statement. Then you won't get lost. Then you won't get sesat. Okay? Yeah. So it is.
Saya rasa cara. Hello, Simon.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Silakan.
Hello, Simon.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Line tak clear.
Go ahead. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Apa dah nak cakap tadi ni? Lupa dah. Sorry.
So you try this.
Yeah. Sorry, ingat. Boleh tak kalau I just merujuk cadangan daripada Simon?
Rujuk yeah, you can. Yeah, rujuk boleh. I mean jangan
obvious lah, okay.
Jangan side lah.
Entahlah, ya.
I mean ini just cadangan dari supervisor. So ambil je. But I feel can you hear me dah? Dah boleh dengar?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just cadanging because I see that is the thing that you're trying to argue, but it's just not clear in the way you structure. So I'm suggesting that is what you're already thinking about. It's not my idea. Okay, it's just my cadangan how you can structure it.
So dekat analisa tu cukup dengan satu yang kita cadangkan ataupun at least ada 2 point lagi kita boleh come out with.
What is analisa? So you don't have what analisa?
Dekat
don't look at your document. Analisa you rujuk to the last time we talked about this with Dr. Lukman kan, and I sent you a document. Apa itu analisa?
Yeah.
Follow that. Like that is the kind of analysis you need to make. Okay. So the difference between rumusan is that rumusan what you buat is like highlight all the code, the keyword, and all that. That's rumusan saja. But after that, you still have to analyze. Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan sort of like certain code that yang kebiasaannya muncul dalam wawancara. You still have to analyze. You still have to problematize. Don't forget to problematize. Like kalau mereka kata begitu, kenapa begitu? Mengapa perkataan ini kerap kali digunakan? Apa yang dimaksudkan sebenarnya? Apa isi tersiratnya? Semua itu kena ditanya. Kalau tak ditanya, itu setakat rumusan saja, bukan analisa. If you don't try to understand what is the isi tersirat and connect it to your problem statement.
So maksud Simon tu problematize ni ialah kita akan argue dan kita cuba memahami kenapa dia begitu dan akhirnya assumption lah.
The assumption, but in a generous way lah. We're not trying to argue for the sake of saying kamu salah kan. It's like saying oh, why is it like this? Like kenapa, what makes it so interesting? How is it going to help us to understand the main problem statement that you have framed? That challenge our understanding of how commercialization has menghakiskan adat, when in fact maybe it's showing that commercialization have in fact strengthened adat, but also in the process transform adat and make it much in a very redefine that adat, so that ancestral power is understood to be so much more meaningful or whatever. I don't know. I'm just showing. You have to continuously. It's a back and forth lah. It's a back and forth process. You cannot say you've habis one section and then you leave it. habis another section, then you leave it. It's always like habis the section, connect it back to the main point that you have made. Habis another section, connect it back to the main point that you have made about your problem statement and then habis another section, connect it again and make sure all of them are the
connected each other.
Yes. So it's just having to go back again and again and again and again for revision. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I take note.
Yeah, go ahead. I will send you the recording after this, okay? Don't worry.
Okay, kalau Simon tak kisah, ada tak contoh yang paling dekat? Sorry if I mungkin untuk I baca. I mean teks lah, contoh analisis yang at least boleh tengok flow dia apa semua. Actually I dah faham dah. I just nak tengok. Okay, ini kita contoh.
Actually, the best person to follow is Clifford Slater as well. Actually, Valerie Marshman. If you want the Sarawak punya case study, she's very good. You know, people like what's her name? The one that works on Bidayo and Bidayo. The anthropologist who works on Bidayo, Liana Chua. We went for her. Keynote at the Borneo Research Council. So all these people are your Borneo case study lah. I can think of. You know, Valerie Mashman, dia tulis tentang if you see her, for example. Mashman, Tamang Bulan. I look for this one. So look at this. This will be a very good example because it's specifically about peacemaking ritual. So peacemaking ritual biasanya mereka attributed to orang Mat Saleh. They say that orang Mat Saleh yang dalang untuk membuat all this peacemaking ritual lah. It's almost like the batu sumpah of Sabah, but in the Sarawak case, they have this peacemaking ritual. So semua orang datang and then mereka buat kemuhibahan, and lepas itu semua orang dah jadi kawan, and then biasanya dari perspektif orang Barat, mereka kata mereka dalang. Tapi Valerie Mashman is challenging this. And she's saying that no, this peacemaking ritual is in fact a local adat. And how she does it is that she then sort of like points to example within the ritual context itself, how the concept of adat is so strongly structured within the peacemaking ritual. In fact, it's a masaleh that participates within the peacemaking ritual, and it only berjaya because it's a system that everyone already understands locally. It's not because it's a masaleh system of bringing people together. That is the analysis that she made. The analysis is to prove that the assumption that peacemaking ritual is a masaleh, invention, that the masaleh is the dalang behind it, is wrong. Because she has the analysis proved that it's already a local sort of like adat, and that this local adat is it only berjaya because it's something that makes sense to everyone, to all the different communities in Sarawak.
I already take a look. Baru sebentar tadi I take a look. So mostly kebanyakan teks tu adalah banyak pada analisis lah.
Yes. Okay. But you need analysis to prove your your argument, to answer to your problem statement. If you don't have a problem statement, you don't have an argument. If you don't have an argument, you cannot do the analysis to prove your argument. Yeah. So it's very systematic lah. I mean, it's so have a look at this. I think this is a good example, and because it's also very clear and it's a case study, right? So imagine this at a thesis level, you need to have different sections, but all of them need to answer back to your main problem statement and your main argument. Okay?
Okay. So, I cuba buat satu, tak buat rangka lah, terus buat.
You buat satu, send it to me, we again macam ni, and then
mungkin dalam satu atau dua muka surat kan. I send kat you dan you tengok balik.
And then we straight away critique and then figure out how to improve. Okay? And then don't spend so long, maybe 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay, cuba.
And then we can meet again like this. Okay?
Inshallah.
Okay, Joe. Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, Simon. Anything else?
That's it. I think we should try. I think that's a good suggestion. We should just try it first, and then let's meet up as soon as possible and see if you get the exercise. Okay.
Tapi kebanyakan macam ada start text tu dah ada citation ya, right?
Yeah. The form, yeah, okay. I mean dari segi penyampaian, you're fine. It's like you need the isi.
Okay. Betul.
Yeah. It's the isi that we want you to, master so that you can pass your CD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I nak tanya. So I pun dah lambat CD. So impact something ke sebagai calon PhD?
We try to do this as soon as possible now. I mean, we can. That's why I'm trying to get you to cepat-cepat buat habiskan. Like we try this. We try this method first. 1 week, let's do, and then you can faster.
Yeah.
At least get a few, analysis in your. We do a few times. Then when you're comfortable already, we have a few analysis in your main thesis. Then you can go for your CD already, right?
Yeah. So pihak department tak ada tanya lah. Macam mana? Okay, I takut dia impact I punya pencalonan dan I tak boleh daftar next.
No. Tak ada. I think it's more important we try to get you to, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So 2 weeks or 1 week.
InsyaAllah. I cuba 2 minggu sebab nak dapatkan momentum and so on. Semua kan.
You baca the thesis first and then you try and then you tell me lah when you're ready, we straight away meet.
Okay, Simon. Alright, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Thank you.
Salam.
Take care.
Take care.